I just had that left over, I must admit. Be that you took California by storm. Oh. I don't know about it when the storm cleared up, though. You bought all the property on 1947. Bob Hope and Bing Crosby seemed like Hollywood's perfect duo, but behind their famous road movies lay a bitter truth. Crosby called him a talentless hack, refused to attend his roasts, and wouldn't let their wives socialize. Now, decades later, the real story emerges of how two comedy legends went from partners to enemies, and the shocking betrayal that finally tore them apart. Bob Hope was born as Leslie Towns Hope on May 29, 1903, in a London suburb called Eltham. His father, William, was a stonemason from Somerset, and his mother, Avis, was a light opera singer from Wales. Money was tight, and life in England was not easy. William decided to take a chance on a better future. In 1907, he left for America and settled in Cleveland, Ohio, where his brothers were already working as plumbers and steamfitters. A year later, he sent for his wife and 6 sons. The family traveled in third class aboard the SS Philadelphia and arrived at Ellis Island on March 30, 1908. When immigration officers recorded their information, they mistakenly listed Bob as 2 years old instead of 4. That error stayed with him on official documents for years. Life in Cleveland was difficult. The Hope family lived in a small home near Doan's Corners and struggled to make ends meet. They often took in boarders for extra income. Avis, despite the hardships, never stopped encouraging her children. She taught Bob to sing and helped him develop his natural ability to entertain. He loved to mimic people, tell jokes, and perform little dance routines. Even when money was scarce, his mother made sure he had a chance to grow his talents. Bob's first real taste of performing came when he was 10. He entered a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest at Luna Park in Cleveland and won. He loved the excitement of being on stage, but at that time, entertainment wasn't his main focus. Instead, he became interested in boxing. In 1919, he competed in the Ohio Novice Boxing Championships under the name Packy East, a tribute to boxer Packy McFarland. He won 3 fights before losing in the finals. Later in life, he joked that he spent more time on the canvas than Picasso. To help support his family, Bob took whatever jobs he could find. He sold newspapers, worked as a soda jerk, sold shoes, and even tried hustling pool. These jobs put him in contact with all kinds of people. He paid attention to how they talked, how they moved, and what made them laugh. Without realizing it, he was gathering the material that would later shape his comedy. By the 1920s, he started taking entertainment more seriously. He took dance lessons from professionals like King Rastus Brown and Johnny Root, which helped him get small jobs in vaudeville. His first performing partner was Mildred Rosequist, but her mother wouldn't allow her to travel, so he teamed up with Lloyd Durbin and later George Byron. In the beginning, he performed in small venues like Cleveland's Bandbox Theater. He kept working, improving, and climbing his way up. By 1931, he had reached New York City's Palace Theater, one of the biggest vaudeville stages in the country. Vaudeville became Bob's training ground. Most comedians of the time stuck to prepared routines, but he developed a more natural style. He liked to interact with the audience rather than just deliver rehearsed jokes. His performances combined dancing with quick one-liners, a mix that set him apart from other entertainers. By the late 1930s, he made the leap from vaudeville to radio. His first radio appearances included hosting the Intimate Review in 1935 and the Atlantic Family from 1935 to 1936. These early shows helped him get noticed, but it was the Pepsodent Show starring Bob Hope that made him a national star. When the Pepsodent Show started airing on NBC, it became an instant hit. In the early 1940s, it was the #1 show in America. Even as time passed, it stayed in the top 5 for more than 10 years. Every week, millions of listeners tuned in, waiting to hear what Hope would say next. His style was different from other comedians at the time. Most radio stars played fictional characters, but Hope made himself the punchline. He joked about real events in everyday life, keeping his material fresh. He told his writers to read the newspaper and turn headlines into jokes. They wrote hundreds of jokes every week, and Hope picked only the best. This fast-paced approach set the stage for the late-night talk show monologues that would come decades later. His success didn't go unnoticed. He won 3 Peabody Awards, one of the highest honors in broadcasting. The first came in 1944, recognizing his efforts to boost morale during the war. The Peabody Committee praised his dedication, saying the joy he brought to the troops could never be measured. Later, he received more Peabody Awards for his work in both radio and television. At its peak, The Pepsodent Show wasn't just the most popular radio show, it was part of American culture. From 1942 to 1944, it held the top spot, proving that comedy could be more than just entertainment. It could bring people together. It could lift spirits in hard times. Even after radio faded, Hope's influence never disappeared. In 1990, he was inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame, a final honor for a man who had spent decades shaping the world of comedy. Bob Hope's start in Hollywood was anything but glamorous. His first film role came in 1934 with Going Spanish, a short film that he later joked was so bad it should be used as punishment. That kind of humor became his trademark, sharp, self-aware, and always delivered with perfect timing. He didn't take himself too seriously, but audiences loved him for it. His big break came in The Big Broadcast of 1938. It wasn't just another musical comedy, it gave the world Thanks for the Memory. Hope sang the song with Shirley Ross, and it became an instant hit. The lyrics were sentimental and witty, and the melody was unforgettable. More than just a song, it became part of his identity. It captured everything people loved about him: charm, humor, and a touch of sincerity. By the late 1930s, Hope was already a major star on radio, but Hollywood was a different challenge. His film roles played on his natural comedic style. He was always the fast-talking, overconfident guy who found himself in trouble. The Cat and the Canary, 1939, was a perfect example. It was a mix of horror and comedy, with Hope playing a nervous hero trapped in a haunted house. The balance of suspense and humor worked, and audiences couldn't get enough of him. Then came Road to Singapore, 1940. This was the start of something legendary. It was the first of the Road to films, a series that paired Hope with Bing Crosby and Dorothy Lamour. These movies had everything: music, adventure, and non-stop comedy. Hope and Crosby had incredible chemistry. Crosby was the smooth talker, Hope was the wisecracking coward, and Lamour was the woman they both chased after. What made these films special was how natural they felt. Much of the humor wasn't in the script. Hope and Crosby improvised constantly, throwing jokes at each other and even breaking the fourth wall. Their quick banter gave the movies an energy that audiences loved. The series ran for over 2 decades, with Road to Morocco, 1942, becoming one of the most popular entries. The formula was simple, but it never got old. Hope and Crosby weren't just acting, they were having fun, and it showed. Bob Hope's personal life was marked by complexities and contradictions, particularly concerning his relationships and extramarital affairs. Despite his public image as a devoted husband to Dolores Reed, whom he married in 1934, Hope's private life told a different story. He had numerous affairs with young actresses and showgirls, some of which lasted for years. One of the most notable was with actress Barbara Payton in 1949. Their relationship lasted for about 6 months, during which Hope provided financial support, including paying for her apartment. However, as Payton began to demand more from the relationship, Hope ended the affair and offered her a financial settlement to maintain her silence. Hope's infidelity was not limited to Payton. He was known to have had affairs with other women, including his publicity staff member Ursula Halloran, with whom he had a fairly open affair during a trip to Russia in 1958. Halloran tragically died of a drug overdose in 1963. Despite these numerous affairs, Hope managed to maintain his public image as a family man. He and Dolores adopted 4 children and remained married until his death in 2003. However, his extramarital activities were an open secret in Hollywood, highlighting the complexities of his personal life behind the scenes.